Yo, what up to another lockdown talk? We pushing episode 4. Brothers, and let me check if Brother Man is here. He should be here. He should be here. Our guest. Nothing in the world. Mm-mm.
Hey man,
Yo,
how's the volume now?
I actually hear you much better with my headphones on, huh? I don't know if that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are the struggler.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I
You
don't
are the
know.
one struggling.
Yeah. No, but anyway, I think I got
Can
my
you
headphones on.
can you can you see me? Oh, I don't have the thingy on, right?
No, you don't.
Hey, all right, I'm right here.
What up?
I'm good, my boy. How you doing?
Fresh, man. I'm standard, man. Welcome and welcome. Actually, no,
Nah, for sure, fam.
it's been a minute. We've been trying to do this for a while. I know it's my fault, but shit happens.
All good, boy. All good. I
Yeah,
know.
man.
Let's get it done, man. Let's
Yeah,
get
man.
it done. So what's on the agenda?
So as you know, or as obviously I've been kind of speaking to you about it. Oh shit! I was playing this song. I remembered, like because I was about to talk to you, I was listening to these old songs that we used to jam to, or the ones that you plugged me into, you put me on.
Yeah. What actions was it? Like, what
Uh,
were you listening to?
no, like right now,
I'm guessing music.
no, like
Was it
right now,
music?
is this song, yeah, Double HP, the Kuli China, the Danger song.
Oh, hey, yeah, that track.
It was a
I
vibe.
I used to love that track.
You hear it?
Yeah. Yo, you're taking me back. You're taking me back. Actually, when I listen to those tracks,
Yeah.
like to this day, the first thought, it's always like Oslo. Like that's the first image I get in my head. Like
Yeah.
because that's the when the song played, that was the atmosphere that I was mostly in. You know what I mean? So like it triggers the beauty of songs and the vibration when it hits your ear. It just triggers like a memory,
Yeah.
that's like so powerful, man.
It's true.
But yeah,
It's
man.
true. It's got memories. It's got memories for
Yeah,
days, bro. It's got memories for days. But anyway,
yeah,
obviously the subject matter, obviously that I told you about, but I think it might kind of spread, even though we're talking about alpha males and stuff like that, but it might kind of
yeah,
expand to other areas. But obviously
for sure.
under the construction of alpha male. And I think it's important, for whoever's going to watch this, because obviously, we're going to be having this on YouTube. This is like episode 4, So
Yeah.
whoever actually gets a chance to watch this and actually kind of listen to us discussing, this is not an interview. It's just two boys just chopping it up, which is
Yeah.
vibing, just talking about what we think the ideas of an alpha male is, and obviously certain,
Mm.
what can I say? Like how we've kind of grown to label it, or how we're able to see it,
Yeah.
what it is, and
Yeah,
maybe
for
through
sure. For sure.
and then maybe also through our own experiences as well. And it's
For sure.
funny, like I was saying, like, what, I think for me, I learned about alpha maleism from you, I think the most, and I think obviously because we grew up together, we kind of
Yeah.
we started back in primary, and and it's funny enough, like before we actually spoke, I was thinking about just like for me, and I'm just going to be honest and just speak about my own experience. I think for me, I grew up in a household where, like, I witnessed my dad being a provider, you know.
Yeah.
So I grew up with him being the guy who provides for his family, make sure that everything's taken care of, and pretty much, So I never saw him outside of that.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
somewhere, somehow, that kind of also shaped my perception of how to engage with the world, just from what I was seeing
For sure.
within these
For
four
sure.
walls. And I think when
For
I
sure.
met you, in primary, I think there was just something about your energy, man. You had,
Yeah.
there was something
Yeah.
about you which I don't know how it gravitated towards each other, but I think for the most part, for me, I think I was quite envious of it, because I knew that
Yeah.
I do not possess any of those qualities that you had, and I think
Yeah.
primarily because you were the total opposite of who I was in
The
terms of,
common.
yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But at the same time, you still had
Yeah.
this way with how you dealt with girls, how you just had this charm
Yeah.
going on, you know, and that
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, and
Yeah.
and I was fortunate enough that obviously with like witnessing it firsthand and being shocked by it, because I was that guy who's like, it was school, for me,
Mm,
I grew up learning or thinking that, what, for you to succeed in life, you have to be the most hardest working person. You must be the smartest person. You
mm,
must just go in there and be the A student guy. That's how people like you, or
mm.
that's how people gravitate towards you, by just you being,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
here you come, you come with your swag, you come with
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you come
Yeah.
you come with your swag, you come with that, like straight to the point,
Like,
handling
yeah,
vibes,
freedom.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
came with, and it's true. I think maybe that's the right word.
Mm.
You came with the whole thing of like, yo, man. It's almost like when a bad boy like meets a nerd. It's like, yo, dude, like, what are you doing?
Mm.
That's not how life's supposed to
Yeah.
be, boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think maybe
Yeah.
just to kick it off, maybe like let's just go back to the beginning. Where would you say that whole personality trait comes from on your end?
Um, to be honest, man, I have no idea, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah,
I was just always challenging myself to always try to be myself
yeah,
and not like conform. But I
yeah.
think most part is I would say gravitates more to my mom's foundation in terms of how she taught me how to be almost like an outcast. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and how she like taught me always to be the not be a follower type of thing. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And I think because of that, that was what gravitated my like how I kind of uh, picked up on you as an individual.
yeah,
Go in primary because you were not the you were nerdy one,
yeah,
so you were not the going with the vibe, the thing, like like you were so abstract, you were just weird,
mm,
you know what I mean? And because of that, it automatically made you like an outcast,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And because
True.
of that, it familiarized me with wanting to be your friend.
Yeah,
And because of that, I kind of wanted to protect you.
yeah,
I was very like overprotective over you,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. Niggas knew, because
yeah,
I kind of saw that your naiveness
yeah,
and childlike behavior,
yeah.
people could like take advantage
Advantage
of
of
it, you know what I mean?
which they
You
did,
know what I mean?
especially the money
Which they
game.
exactly. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
was always the nigga that like
yeah,
was standing up for you. Like for
yeah,
me, it was like I I had to be the one that I would rather, how could I say, um make like be I'd rather be the one that would fight with you, no
yeah,
one else, like
yeah,
type of thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
only I fight with this guy. To that, you can have your arguments with other
mm,
people,
yeah,
but I was kind of like it had a threshold for me. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
you could only go this far with him. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
And I
Only
hear
I
you.
can go. Yeah, it was almost like a very protective brotherly thing,
Yeah,
and yeah, and funny enough, that's the same people that I was drawn to it. And like Zoo, remember
yeah,
Zoo in
yeah. I
NSA?
remember.
It
Yeah,
was how he gravitated towards me is because he was like a nerdy. He used to wear these nerdy glasses,
yeah,
right? So at one point, Nerile go at like a trip, and then he dropped his lunch on the floor, like after coming out from the bus to go to some school that we were visiting at the time.
Mm.
And then so everyone looked at him and laughed at him, like, you know how high school thing was. So, and everyone left him there, and I was the
Yeah.
only one that like stayed back, and I helped him pick up his things,
Yeah.
like, and then from then on, like, he's held me close to his heart because I was the only person that stayed back and helped him, and
Yeah.
and since then we became like very close friends. So I think, and same thing with Mabine.
Mm.
Funny enough, when he was he was stuck somewhere with his car in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere, and him and I were not even friends,
Yeah.
like that. He was more closer to CK, but
Yeah.
for some reason he told me that I think we were having a conversation, and he told me that he was stuck with his car. So he saw me like just rock up in the middle of the night, and I chilled with him like
Mm.
the whole night until he was sorted out.
Yeah.
And then since then he. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm just like people that are just when I see, it's almost like a good naive in them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to kind of, something in me just wants to
Yeah.
be close with them. I don't know, or do
Yeah.
something. It doesn't even need to be close with them, but
Yeah.
like always go against the grain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the grain that you see from TV, the is people would go against that. Was like,
Yeah.
okay, style, or So
Yeah.
na nekrata the perceived decline.
I hear you.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Let's go back. Let's go
Yeah.
back just a bit. Like you mentioned that it's probably something that
Or
you probably
two,
got from.
two,
Yeah.
2 seconds. I just
Yeah.
want to charge something so that
Okay.
we don't get cut off.
All
All
right.
right,
Cool.
cool.
All right. Let me just pause here. All right.
Cool.
Cool. Yes, I think I was about to ask you because like just going back to what you're talking about in terms of like you think it came from your mom. Like can you just elaborate
Mm,
maybe a little bit on that part because I want to go back there because I think somewhere somehow there's a young person out there or maybe there's somebody who they're growing in a certain environment and maybe there's certain things which they're not noticing about their personality that's being developed just according to their surroundings.
yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
like just break down maybe your kind of surrounding, maybe just to kind of
So
highlight maybe what kind of certain things do you think kind of shaped that perspective?
as you know, I only grew up with my mom and my
Yeah,
sister because my
yeah,
mom and my dad separated
yeah,
from a young age. So she kind of had to sort of figure out how she could assist me with male characteristics, because there were when I was younger at the time,
yeah,
prior to me meeting your dad, obviously.
yeah,
Um, um, I didn't have any male characteristics I could look upon.
yeah,
Well, except for my uncles and stuff, but they had their own families to
yeah,
take care of, so they were not there often enough.
yeah,
So I know that every time, like, I think at some point I got bullied,
mhm,
and so from then on, my mom was like, when they bully you, I was a kid, like I think it was probably early primary or
mhm,
maybe Kresnian, I forgot the time.
yeah,
And because I was just like that naive boy who was very active, and then I got bullied by
mhm,
some boys, and then my mom saw that I had like bruises coming back home,
mhm.
and then she was like, Papa, abanka tshwara hape, o a sharp, like
Yeah,
just
I
busy,
remember.
you know, busy, like
Yeah,
coaching me, like
yeah, yeah,
don't let
bullying.
them do that to you,
Yeah,
yeah, because for me, I obviously didn't understand the whole thing of fighting. Like, why would someone do that,
yeah,
so if it happened to me, the concept of even self-defense or whatever, I was a child,
mm,
so all you could probably do is cry, or it just didn't make sense to me,
yeah,
you know um and that's when she kind of evoked that thing, that it's actually okay to strike back.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think from then on, I started watching a lot of Bruce Lee movies also
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah.
you know. And then since then, I think I've always been able to stand up for myself, you know, just how she's kind of instilled that in me, and it replicated itself in every situation I was encountering such
Yeah.
contact, and therefore that's why when I saw it happen to you, it became very personal for me,
Yeah.
you know, in primary school, when
Mm.
I would see, you know, because obviously it made me realize that prior to me coming to this primary school were these the things that you were dealing with,
Oh
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because I found you there, so
Yeah.
for me, when I saw it happen, and because of the friendship you and I had developed, it was so deep that when I saw that, it was almost like I was not only protecting you, but I was protecting myself too.
Mm.
If you understand what I'm,
Makes
because it
sense.
became very, very personal. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then obviously then when I met um, your family,
Mm.
your dad was probably the biggest uh, male role model in my life,
Yeah.
because it's the male person that
Yeah.
I saw much often compared to everyone else,
I
because
see.
I was always with you, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And obviously him being a provider
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
taking care of like the house, I
Yeah.
was always there to see all of that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, I hear you.
Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I because I was a curious child, I always kind of studied everything,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Everyone, and had to kind of find my way up to being a male person,
I hear you.
I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, it did have its challenges,
Mm.
you know what I mean, not having a male figure, you know, but I kind of feel like I turned out even better than what I probably would have turned out if I grew up with
Yeah.
my dad in particular, in
Yeah. I hear
terms
you.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So then maybe just to kind of like open up a little bit. So for you, how would you define an alpha male? Like in your own words, like how would you like say, like when you see it, like how would you kind of label it, or like say, like, you know, it's that guy, he's an alpha male, you know? And obviously I know for it, there's an alpha male, and then obviously somebody who's not that, I think they call them betas, I think. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe let me take you through puzzles,
Okay.
um, because the first
Don't
way
confuse
I
the audience now.
defined,
Don't confuse our audience.
no, but I just want to obviously sort of build up a puzzle for them
All
to
right,
kind
cool.
of see where it all started. You know what
I
I
see.
mean?
All right, yeah, yeah.
So where the first person that I defined as alpha male, or maybe the second, it was between Bruce Lee and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? As a kid, you know,
Yeah.
because Bruce Lee just perceived that alpha maleness for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was my kind of my first encounter, you know, not based on the personality, but based on just what I used to see and gravitate with
Yeah.
these kung fu and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And then Michael Jackson, in terms of his artistry and how he's just like, yo, he's
It was flawless,
he's
eh?
he
He
was
was-
so flawless, man. And the thing is, his one was the way opposite of Bruce Lee, because it was more of a gentle but
Mm,
still striking. You know what I
mm.
mean? And you would see all these women fainting, and
Yeah, it's
you know what
crazy,
I
man.
mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, so his was a more, I won't say feminine, but gentle, and you know, where Bruce Lee's one was more aggressive, you know, but very intelligent, you know. So that was my first perception of
Yeah.
alpha maleism, which was more the physical
Mm.
part of it, you know, not
Yeah.
the mental part of it. You know, the
Yeah.
mental part of it, I think I kind of started learning the more
As
I
time went
grew up,
by.
you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So based on that, I remember in primary school there
Hmm.
was a girl called, I don't know if you remember Beve. Remember Beve?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember it.
So Yeah, so that girl was the first time Keshela Cher
Mm.
in ever in my life,
Really? In
And
primary?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. You know, I'm surprised. I'm surprised because
Yeah.
like when you got to primary, dude, like, man, you rocked up there like, dude, you've been handling mummies, bruh. you know.
Yeah,
so
no,
that's
that
why.
wasn't the case.
Yeah, so that's why, like, when I'm hearing, I'm like, are you serious? But anyway, continue. Sorry.
That wasn't the case. And I'll tell you why,
Yeah.
because I have to kind of express all the angles in terms of my sister's fame also at the time, how it kind of influenced
Yeah.
me, my confidence, and
Yeah.
also its negatives too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So um, so Beverly used to like go crazy over me every time, and over time that gave me so much confidence for some reason as a kid, like, oh, so I'm the nigga fella, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
Especially if it's someone who you want, and the
exactly.
person who wants you goes crazy. That can boost your like ego like hectically.
Exactly. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mm.
So for me, I never knew how to um approach like a girl and tell her like, yo, I
Yeah.
like you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was so confident in every areas like sports,
Mm.
you know, Hukwarana,
Mm.
I was a clown.
Mm-hmm.
I was so confident in all those areas except that one. Um And I remember when I actually wrote a letter, but there was no pen. So I had to scratch the actual letter, ka letlapa, sort of.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah.
and then after that, I threw it to Nelly Kako Tuck Shop.
Yeah.
I threw the letter to her and I ran away.
So like, you don't even know if she caught it or not.
No, I literally put it on where she was sitting
Oh,
and I
I see.
ran
Yeah.
fast because
Yeah.
I used to sprint. So like
Yeah.
ran
Yeah.
and and the whole time going back home, nearly after school,
Yeah.
going back home, I was like, yo, tomorrow I have to now face her. And then when I came back early morning that time, Gabona, she won Abigail. Remember Abigail?
Yeah.
May her soul rest in peace,
In
man.
peace. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I saw she started laughing and I'm like, oh, Beverly finished me. Because girls,
Mm.
so she obviously told her, Jorge, this
Yeah.
boy, so, and then we just started kind of kicking it, but not dating,
Yeah.
too young, but like
Yeah.
we liked each other and would hang out, but it
Yeah.
it never
That
really.
that puppy love type of thing, like a puppy crush, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what turned me off was the whole stories I heard about her and Chabani or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Something about the camp. I don't know if you remember that whole story
Actually,
about her and Chabani or
come
something.
to think of it, I actually do
Remember?
remember there's something like that
Yeah. So
that was around the area.
yeah, so that kind of put me off and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So and then obviously when Boom Shaka started back then,
Mm.
uh, for me, I was so naive to the idea that my sister's fame is then influences my
Your livelihood, yeah.
uh yeah, you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
thought her fame is for her.
It's hers.
You know what I mean?
It's
But
crazy,
then
yeah.
now, yeah, so for me, like I'm getting like attention and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I didn't ask for this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because remember when Boom Shaka came through, I don't know if you were there when they came through, go primary, and everybody left class, like because my sister had come
Yeah.
to fetch me, and I
Oh yeah.
a white.
wasn't that the thing, the dolphin though? Was it a Kushesha or was it a dolphin?
No, it was a kusheshe. You guys, you guys never used to really see it because you guys
Yeah.
only started seeing the dolphin,
The dolphin, yeah.
like because she changed from
Yeah,
Kushesha to
to dolphin.
to the
Yeah.
dolphin.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So normally when she used to fetch me, she used to fetch me very late when
Yeah.
everyone
Had left.
had left.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand. So that day she had to come fetch me early.
Yeah.
The whole school like came out. Even the school next door, it's like the whole area. Yo, it was crazy.
That's
And
rough. Yeah.
that's when after that, that's when I was like, damn, I didn't understand it. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Because also if you think about it,
what's
like
going on?
you still have to come back to the school tomorrow.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously that got me a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But beyond that, um, um, I it didn't really get to me as much, because I was a gifted child too. People recognized me for what I could do.
Your talent.
So
Yeah.
it's not just like, yeah, it's just like it's just because it's Tembi's brother don't mean we recognize. They saw the stuff that I used to do in sports,
Yeah.
in arts, in academics. Like I was living, like I had my own, you know what I mean? And obviously the pressure of that,
Yeah.
you know. But fast forwarding to that, my confidence grew in time where the thing about me is that I had a bit of expectations also, me being now Timby's brother, where like I thought it would be easy now to get girls, which it was,
Yeah, it came with its
but
perks.
exactly, you know what I mean? But there were girls that would like, hey, Yawa would, nah, I'm not feeling you like that. You know what I mean? So it used to get to me like, like it used to really get to me. You know what I mean?
It's
It
crazy.
used to really get to me. I
And
didn't
you know, it's funny.
understand it,
It's funny because I mean, like what you're talking about, it's almost like a same scenario with somebody with money as well. Because sometimes, like even when you have money, I guess money and fame, they kind of go hand in hand in terms of how they kind of can give you power or give you the illusion of power. So somehow you kind of have those expectations on other people. So that's what I'm saying. Like your expectation, they were like, how what? Like, do you know who I am? Have you, like, I mean, like, when people talk like that.
Exactly.
So I understand what you mean. It happens. It happens.
Exactly.
Out, yeah.
Yeah, because for me it came like it used to come easy, like like, oh, okay, she's feeling me, how, but whatever, you know what I mean. But there were moments where it would just be like, why, I didn't understand it, and it really used to get to me, and it kind of also used to now crash my self-esteem now and then, like given that I mean it would as a young boy, you know what I mean. And but obviously there would always be other girls that, but there are people that are still feel, but as I calculated it made no sense to me, like but
how did
people
you get over
need
that?
to like me.
How did you get over
Because
that?
it was like,
maybe just to kind of,
because I realized that, like, at the end of the day, people need to spend time with me, not my sister.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they needed to learn my personality. They're not going to be chilling with my sister. They're going to be chilling with me most of the time, just like how I made friends with you, Roland, and everyone else. I mean, if for example you guys became friends with me because of my fame, obviously over time it didn't matter anymore, so you can't even judge it and say, they became friends with you, but it's like, it's just how God chose it to happen. You know what I mean? And these people became genuinely my friends, like, all the time I was with these people. They they got to experience me, the character, beyond this whole fame thing, and and because of also my talent also used to get me a lot of attention
Yeah.
too, you know. But I realized that I needed to work on more who I am, you know, because these tangible things can only get people to stay uh, a certain period of time,
Yeah.
you know. Because what are you going to do if you're a great dancer? No,
Like for them to stay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Or if you know me, I used to like backflips and stuff. What
Yeah.
am I going to keep doing backflips so that?
Yeah.
No, it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the most ridiculous thing. And you know, with my whole perception that I realized over time that even these girls that if I approach them and they reject me, I'm back to where I was. I lost nothing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I lost nothing. I'm back
Yeah.
exactly because you know a lot of men approach girls from a point of view of them losing something if the girl says no,
Yeah.
and then it gets to them.
Mm.
You know, where in actual fact you back to where you were prior to. So the only thing that is open for you is winning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if she says no, you back to where you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
the only thing that's left is winning.
Yeah.
So if she says yes, hooray!
Yeah.
You've actually now put something into the space. You didn't lose anything
Yeah. Yeah.
into the space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know that has always been my concept, and
Yeah.
because of that, um, a lot of girls started um, feeling my confidence because I they felt the whole approach was not based on me thinking "Hore, if they say no,
Yeah.
I'm going to,
You're gonna crumble.
you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
I'm still the guy. Actually, in most cases, the ones that would say no
Yeah.
would later try to get back. And knowing me, you know me,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Quickly,
You know?
I think also like for me, I wanted to kind of also highlight. I think like you've like for the longest time, dude, you always try to teach me that, bruh. Sometimes it was in, sometimes it took a while, but I think obviously like remember like I was saying in the beginning that I learned a lot of those lessons from you, and obviously for me, I was fortunate enough because I would actually see it happen in front of my eyes,
Mm.
you know. So because
Yeah, for sure.
there's sometimes when there's a lot of people who they're good at what they do, but they can't teach the next person, you know.
Yeah,
And obviously,
exactly.
as human beings, you know, I always believe there's only two ways to learn. It's either through experience or observation, you know. So
Yeah.
so for me, I was fortunate enough to see it firsthand because sometimes like you'd say, and I think maybe like that's where my difficulty was because you tell me like you're still long and when you think like when you do it like you're not going to lose anything, but then I mean, like you hear it, and then from there, but then because obviously, again, like going back to paradigm, to your programming, from what you've always
Mm,
seen,
mm,
you've seen people,
mm,
it was always like the rich boys were able to get girls. It was always the cute looking
mm,
type of niggas who were able to
mm,
get the hardest girls and stuff like that. Then you're like, shit, I don't like none
mm,
of that, you know? And here Mark is telling
mm.
me that, dude, just go and talk to her, bruh. You won't like you'll not lose anything. And then from there, I'm like, you just saying that because you look good, Marky. You just saying that because you got abs. You know, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
At the back of my head, like that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like I'm saying that, I'm thinking like, this guy, like, he's saying that because for him already he's got a pop, he's got it like he's got everything packaged,
Yeah,
and then you tell him
yeah.
it's not that it's not like rocket science, just do it,
No,
Uh,
it's not.
yeah. So for me,
Yeah,
so that's how I started things. So that's how I started kind of slowly but surely started
but
getting to it,
but the thing with me, why I was saying that because I'm very over analytical.
Yeah,
Girls actually like funny people, funny
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I've seen like girls like go crazy or like you see the best looking guy, but there's that one funny guy that, like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
all of their looks just fall down, boy.
Yeah.
It does nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
character always wins. Like,
Yeah.
for me personally,
Yeah.
I've experimented with it.
Yeah.
You know,
And
looks
it's
can
true.
only get you so far. You
Yeah.
know, only so far.
And
You
I feel
know,
like girls will
I
also say
knew
that,
that.
man. Like girls will actually also say that,
Yeah,
like, personality,
yeah,
confidence, all those things is
exactly.
they'll
Because
never have. Yeah.
what are they gonna do? They're just gonna keep looking at you the whole day, and they're just feeding their eyelids. I mean, their eyes, and it does nothing.
Yeah.
They need to speak and engage with this person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So looks can only take you so far. So that's why I was telling you that. And the thing is with me, how I even did it with you. I'd even, when you felt a girl, I'd even take your phone
Dude,
and have a
like,
conversation with her.
dude, like it's crazy. Like when I think about it, bro, like, oh, dude,
Mm,
man, I was such a beta. I was such a beta male, dude. It was crazy because,
because I needed to show you with your own, because I felt that if I if you approached a girl, for example,
yeah,
right? Now she thinks she's speaking to you, but she's
yeah,
speaking to me, right? When
yeah,
I'm grabbing your phone.
yeah,
No, bear in mind, she doesn't know that she's speaking to me. So
yes,
what is she experiencing now?
yeah,
Personality,
personality, yeah,
right through.
yeah.
And you could see, like, yo, and the thing is,
This lady's winning. Yeah, I'm like, this guy's.
you know what I mean? And the thing is, it was not mathematical. It was
Yeah,
the the most typical, obvious things. You
yeah,
know, like the things that you, because we men always overthink when
yeah.
wanting to speak to a girl.
They
But
do.
like the dumbest thing, like, yo, like
Yeah,
things that you would think would offend her.
yeah.
You know, I'll say, yo, by the way, you know what I mean? Like, yo,
It's crazy,
like
bro.
I must say, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but you got really nice boobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Like, you
crazy,
know,
man.
like,
Like,
those things, you know, it's the way you say them. Like, you
yeah,
have to almost sound like a child.
yeah,
Like, but you have really, you know, it mustn't come out sexual. That's the
yeah, of
most
course.
important
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It
yeah.
must always come out like, yo,
Like sincere.
like,
Like
you know,
also, yeah,
it's very sincere. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So the simple things, they get um they get shocked,
yeah,
but it triggers like, he's different
yeah,
type of thing. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
you always need to, the smooth talker guys, it can only get you
So fine. And I think
so
also,
far.
dude, like,
No,
I think for
you have
me,
to be
like,
witty.
I'd rather like say this as well, is that I think, and it's funny because, when times when I wasn't around you, there's times when, like you still want to get information, and then it's funny because I see all these people who are putting out all this information, people trying to help guys to get better with girls or confidence, whatever. And I'm like, shit, I literally had like a master class every day, and
Because it's
I
funny, like, sorry for cutting you, because I
yeah,
remember you actually showed me these videos, and I'm like,
yes,
but boy,
that's what I've been
this
saying.
is
Dude, and I'm like, fuck, but I guess, I think like each his own, like in terms of time as well. But I think, for me,
mm,
that's why I was like, it's like, like as we're talking about this thing, it just kind of shows like how far, we've come, it's just in terms of my, like the way I think like a lot of who I am today, has to do with a lot of
mm,
things, but a huge part also has to
mm,
do with my connection with you because I realized that
mm,
most of the stuff, because you must understand, in most of the case, as much as talented as we are individually, but as much as like you are talented, like you still deal with human
mm.
beings in the outside world, and also
Exactly, yeah.
and also like how you deal with people as a man, particularly. It's
Mm,
very important that there's certain ways you carry yourself in terms of also being yourself, but being able to engage with the
mm,
world. And the lessons
mm,
that I got from you, okay, fine, besides, from the girl side as well, because I mean, even
mm,
the bad one, like we could talk for
mm.
hours just and all those small things that happen. I mean, like, you literally, dude, had to grab my hand, like, to say, Philip, touch her. Philip, kiss her.
Yeah. I don't know if we should speak about that story, but if you want to go into it.
No, like, not into detail per se, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I want to be, I just want to be honest and be authentic, because there's somebody out there who says, okay, cool, I'm listening to these two guys talking, but yet they're not being real about themselves or about situations, you know? So I just want to be real. Like, for me, I can be honest about my flaws or my weaknesses, because I realize that it's stuff which, as time progresses, stuff which I had to work through. Because I believe, obviously, in terms of, like, when you're trying to build something, first of all, you need to admit that there's something that's broken or that needs to be fixed.
For sure.
You know.
For sure.
So knowing what my weakness was, it gave me the allowance to be teachable, to take what you're saying and not bring ego into it. Because for me, I could have easily said, you know, like, fuck Moagi, man, like, he's the way he is. You know. I'm like, for sure, because of 1, 2, 3, and I'm the way I am. So I've got nothing to learn from it. We can just go our own separate way. You know? But then I had to be more conducive in being able to say, you know what, let me learn from this guy. You know, it's almost the same thing which I tell kids when I do like, when we do school tours, we like talks, and we say, you know what, if you're failing in class, look for the smartest person in your class and make friends with them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I mean, like, for the fact that they're doing well in class, there's something that you can take from that.
Yes. And can I cut through before you continue?
Yeah.
Just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's why I also I wanted to become your friend, because of maths. You were like the smartest guy with mathematics in class. And because of you, my maths improved, because it was like, like, people mustn't just see me as this guy. I also need to handle. You know what I mean?
You got to be smart, you know? Yeah. So
exactly.
And I think that's the foundation of our relationship as well, because I think we're exchanging. We always exchange, because
exactly.
after I mean, I saw you even posted on Facebook after 26 years. That's a long time, you know?
No, I actually counted, because we met in 94.
Yeah, 94.
We met in 94, so
that's when Mandela became president. Anyway, so you know, so because of our foundation as well, you know, which is why, I mean, like, we can go for a long time, for months or even years not speaking, you know, but there's nothing that somebody can tell me about you that, like, I would not know, or maybe it's not even like not know, but I would take at face value.
Not be surprised.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not be surprised, but also not be surprised. But, like, there's certain things, like, we've experienced so much together, and I mean, like, a lot. You know,
a lot actually.
that because our relationship, or maybe let me say our brotherhood was based on a solid foundation. Is that like, no matter what happens, you know, in your life or in my life, dude, like, I'll always be there for you, you know, just because of just understanding our history, understanding what even
for sure.
And sometimes, yes, we've gone through the rough patches as well, you know. I mean, like, we don't agree on everything, but somehow we still understand that, yes, just because we disagree on something does not mean we should be enemies, or we should not be friends, or we should not be in each other's lives, because what we have is bigger. It's so much bigger than maybe just you and I, you know? It's so much bigger than you and I.
I think I never told you this, but I feel like I should tell you that the reason why, like, I started telling everyone that you're my cousin, because I don't want people to just overlook you as, you know, they'll think you a groupie type of thing. You know, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And for me, it was like,
I feel you.
Trust me, this ain't a groupie. You know what I mean? Like, just because, you know, like, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. For me, I needed to kind of solidify it, Guti. Here,
this is family. This is family.
Don't get it twisted. And everyone obviously thought you were my cousin for the longest time, because it was also kind of my angle of protection in a very funny way.
I know.
You know, I'm a very protective guy.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So that when I'm with you in one room and we came to a spot,
Yeah.
It's like that's Sello and that's Moagi.
Yeah.
It's not Sello. I mean, it's Moagi and his name. Oh, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like
some guy,
this. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it almost, people need to know that
Yeah.
that is the most important person in his
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So you know you know what I mean?
No, and
I don't know if you get what I'm
no, I
saying.
understand, because also maybe just to kind of add to what you're saying, I remember when I think I don't know if it was the first time, but there was a time when we went to a camp in primary,
Mm,
and I think that's
mm,
when my dad picked me up after they just dropped us off from the school, and now we started making plans like,
mm.
yo, dude, you need to come like for the weekend for sleepover,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and we're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
your pops, this is Marky, can you come through for the weekend? Oh yeah, cool, you can come through. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I mean. And
Yo,
then
I was
and that
so
time,
excited. Yo.
now you must remember at that point in time, I don't know if it was before or after, but at that point in time, like I didn't even met Tembi or anything like that. Because I remember
Yeah, nobody.
the first day I met Tembi, I was at your place. We just walked from school. I was at your place. We're sitting
Mm,
there on the floor, and then we're like watching TV. And then Tembi comes in with with her boyfriend then, and I'm
mm.
like, okay, and
Was
then
it Dixie?
yeah,
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 in 35.
yeah, when
Mm,
the lane, and then the lane pops in there,
mm,
and then I'm like, oh, cool, and then she walks in. That time you must remember, I don't know you're like who you're, but already like
mm.
that's how tight we were even at that young age. Then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
so then for me, then I think what you're going through, just going back to the whole thing of fame, people are now saying like putting the connection together. They're like, oh shit,
mm,
it's Timby's younger brother. And I'm like,
mm.
huh? Okay. Uh, and for me, and I think when you're going through that transition, I think somehow it also kind of affected. Also, I don't know, like, uh, does it mean are we still friends? Like I don't know, because maybe
Yeah,
like now
yeah, yeah. Oh, I get what you
you
mean.
know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's almost like someone like
yeah,
being a millionaire or maybe like winning the lottery. All of a sudden, like now they don't know you
yeah,
anymore because at your
yeah,
age, my
yeah,
circle has just gotten bigger. So you know what I'm saying. And I think like
yeah, yeah,
I can admire how you handled that whole situation, because you didn't let it change.
yeah,
Like you didn't let it affect
yeah,
who you were. You still stayed who yourself. You still became
yeah.
crazy. You didn't all of a
No,
sudden
thanks,
become
man.
big and stuff like that. So I gotta give you props for that as well. And I think maybe it kind of ties in what we
No,
talked about
thanks, man.
just in terms of the qualities of just being an alpha male. It's just a matter of
Yeah,
having integrity. And for me personally, I've always
yeah,
described integrity as when whatever you feel, I mean, like whatever you think about it and what you feel and what you do are all shooting in the same direction. That's integrity.
yeah,
The problem with a lot
yeah,
of people,
yeah,
they think one thing and then they do something different, and then they're wondering
yeah, for sure,
why things are not working out in their lives,
for
because
sure.
there's a broken chain between these three elements of who you are that you need to fix.
Yeah, for
If you say you
sure.
want something, feel it emotionally, talk about it, and do something about
Mm.
it.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure, for
so
sure,
yeah. But
for
anyway,
sure.
those just
Yeah, but I'll also point out the fact that before I actually point out this one thing, that so my mom used to dress me up in these fancy labels. You know what I mean?
yeah,
As a child, and for me, for me, I realized that they were fancy
yeah,
based on, like, remember when I'd come go for Sloras,
yeah,
and then the guys were like, yo, utogi, utogi
yeah,
na, utogi. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or
And that time,
just
like
so
Nike
for
was a
me,
thing, man. Like Nike was like,
yeah,
when you were in Nike, you were the man, bro. Back then, all you
yeah, because I was full. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
with me, it was I, I I always thought clothing was based on how well you dressed, not what it is.
yeah,
You
yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
It's true.
So it really messed me up. Like, but like, am I not dressed like
Yeah,
cool?
yeah,
you know, like, you know what I mean? It
yeah,
really, like, and over time, I'm like, why? Like, it used to strike me that why do people have to be perceived with um I don't want to say material things, because I don't want people to perceive me in terms of, at the time, to perceive me as oh, he's wearing something expensive, rather to perceive me as an artist that put something together that made him look good. You know, that's a person that, yes, that's like a personality thing. It's more personality, because you try to express your characters and personality through what you know what I mean?
Dude,
so
quickly,
it used to
quickly, I remember the time when you dressed me up, dude, and then one couple said editor faith, you know, like those all-star boots.
Oh yeah,
and then I had
like, I remember.
And that young kickball was like situation that you call me.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I
dude,
remember. You know.
Anyway,
you know, because so with me, it used to always confuse me how like how people always recognize such things where they could not see you, the person. You know what I mean? And and I'm so glad that it didn't get to me. Like it not good. It didn't get to me, as in I didn't follow the fashion. You know, I was always like that's why I think I was alone in most of my life. You know what I mean? Even when I arrived in high school, when people wanted to do the smoking thing or drinking. So for me, it was like, I'd rather have you follow me than the other way around, because I don't want to be a sheep. Like from a young age, instilled by my mother. You know what I mean? So that character replicated in everything else in terms of how I approach women. You know, I just wanted to be always artistic about it, different, you know. And the one thing that I used to dig a lot about you is how you used to be funny, but you actually were not aware. You know, you do like the dumbest things. That's even this video that you did recently. You know, I said the first person I sent it to was obviously CK, because he gets we have like the same
sense of humor.
Exactly. You know, so like we were so finished, you know. So I'm like, this guy, sometimes he doesn't realize how funny he is, and that's what makes it so genuine. You know, that's why I don't buy it when people come with the story, I'm humble, because humble people are not even aware that they're humble. They're just being themselves.
You don't tell yourself that you're humble. Actually, that's true. That's a very true statement.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like for you, it's like, how do you perceive what humble is? Because the most humble people are not even aware they're humble. They're just being
themselves. They're just being
themselves. You know, exactly. You know, and then you then perceive it like, oh, he's so humble. It's like and for them, it's like, oh,
like a shark. A shark doesn't know that it's a shark. It just does what a shark does.
Exactly. A lion doesn't know that
it's
it
the
just
king of the jungle.
goes with the nature. Exactly. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So where was I going? Where were we going with this conversation?
I think you're talking about, okay, like you're highlighting just in terms of how the funny part,
the building blocks, pretty much, right? Yeah. So the building blocks, you know. So for me, you were one of my building blocks, you know, in terms of because yes, I was like the funny guy, but sometimes I would intentionally try to be funny. You know, which still worked. You know, because I would intentionally play with you. When I saw it, you wouldn't intentionally try to become funny, and it would be that's what made it even more funny. You know what I mean? And I used to look at that. I was like, yo, that's cool. Like, I'd like to be like that.
And it's funny because for me, you know, and you would know this, like I went through like huge struggles in primary, you know, with big teeth, you know, big head. And it's funny because with me, my body structure was just like abnormal, dude. I looked like an alien because I had a big head, but I was skinny as fuck. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So I had to deal with the whole bullying thing. Okay, not bully to the extent like, yo, like give me your money. But that whole thing of made fun of, almost
teasing
like shit.
thing.
Yeah, the being teased thing, because when that happens a lot every day, then you start believing that you're different, you know. And when you start believing that you're different, then it can either work, which sometimes it does work. But sometimes that feeling can either make you feel isolated, to feel like you don't belong, you know. But then on the other hand, then from there, then I come across people like you, or people I mean, like who, like the people that the same common friends that we had, where now these people, this side I'm being teased, this side I've been embraced for being who I am. Then it's like, oh shit, okay, so maybe there is something to this, you know what I mean? So it's not all bad, because then at the end of the day, if everybody was acting the same way, then it would have been probably like a thing where like, shit, I don't belong here, because every corner I'm looking at everybody saying the same thing, you know. So that's what I'm saying, like the pull and pull. And then like the push and pull was kind of like, oh shit, there's people who tease and there's people who embrace your difference, you know. And if you see for me right now, like that's what I try to do with everything that obviously, like now with social media, because we grew up in an era where there was no social media. I remember you the first person invited me on Facebook, bruh. 2007. 2007, Martin is like, yo, dude, there's this cool thing happening called Facebook, man. Register, get on it. This, I remember this.
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, dude, there's this thing cool. And that's why for me, that's what I try to do in terms of how I kind of present myself to the outside world. It's just to be as real as you are. Sometimes it's goofy, sometimes it's fine, but you still express the same thing even if you are with me. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's funny because people are like, shit, dude, like you really find it. They're like, I'm like, which part is funny? Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I always used to see that. I always used to see that, like when you make people laugh, and then you'd have that pause moment, and then you just continue, and then you know
because
what
I don't know.
Oh
you know?
shit, I'm funny. You know what I mean?
And also one thing I realized, which people would say, was like, I'm very animated, which for me, like, I can't.
The Jim Carrey game.
Yeah, you know, but the animation is the reflex thing. Cause I'll see sometimes when I'm with people, they're like, yo, dude, I like the way you rolled your eyes. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, hey, like, Sansa used to dig that. Like you always used to crack Sansa up.
You know, and sometimes because I led with instinct in most things, and sometimes that instinct was like, it took me to a place where like people were like, oh shit, oh that was funny. I was like, oh, but then you know, because other people would take offense, because somebody would be like, hey, but I think like you look like what was happening, you're upset. You know, I've literally had a girl came, because obviously when I used to do auditions, I remember I went to audition Yamo Ekuruleni TV. And then there's this girl, the girl who was the producer. And I'm just sitting there, like just in my own thoughts. And she came to me like, yes, like, why do you look upset? Like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm not upset. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I actually realized, because she read, like she was reading through my body language, my facial expression, and how, you know, and that's kind of how I've also I've learned how you can say a lot just by how you look at something, how you express yourself, how sometimes it's not about what you're saying anymore. It's just about how you say things, you know. So
first impression,
so that for me created a sense of empathy, which is why for me, I believe I've got empathy, because I always try to think of, I always try to put myself in the next person's shoes, in terms of how would I feel if that person was doing that to me, you know, which then makes me aware of how I treat them as well, you know, which is why sometimes maybe it becomes like those breaking blocks in how you interact with the people around you or the people next to you, whether it's family, whether it's friends.
For sure.
You know what I mean? In terms of like, there is a certain way to say something, because sometimes you can just say it because thinking, no, he's my friend, he'll understand. But then the perception of it, especially when it comes to women, I think maybe we should also maybe just engage with that as well. Because when it comes to the opposite sex as well, I mean, like, how have you been able to kind of even dig deeper in terms of that whole alpha male? I won't even say title.
Sure. Okay. Before we go towards that, you know, I want you to pick on something also that you probably didn't realize.
Okay.
So when I arrived in primary school,
Yeah.
bear in mind that you, Samuel, and Roland were not friends,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You
And
just knew of each other.
I was friends with good men, I think.
Yes, you were friends with good men.
Yeah.
And then Samuel was friends with a guy called Masima or something like that.
Yeah.
Masima, something like that. And then I don't know who Roland was
Wasn't
friends
he
with.
friends with Shuli? Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think he was. No, yeah, I think because they were cousins or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So bear in mind that we then, when I arrived, right, I became friends with you. Then I became friends with Roland, and then I became friends with Samuel through Deta.
Yeah.
Deta, remember Deta? Yeah, through he's the one that built that relationship between myself and Samuel.
Yeah.
And then we all then became a clique, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at it from a point of view and the characters, we were completely different people. Like we were the weirdest, like clique, like weird. Samuel was this giant guy from Tanzania. Roland was this
colored boy
who spoke with an English accent. And then you were just this other guy, Jay, you know, with an oversized head.
Yeah.
And then it was, you know, the group was so weird, but it was
dynamic,
we had the best time.
Yeah.
The best time. Because we were not trying to be cool.
Yeah.
We were not trying to, you know what I mean? Because that's what gravitated to me with Roland, Samuel, because they were just so different.
Yeah.
You know, it was not the common thing.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of that whole thing of saying that when you're saying that Roland was a thing, he used to speak with an English accent.
You know, remember when he spoke to his dad, like, Dad?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm thinking of, oh shit. Anyway, sorry, man. I'm thinking about,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we used to go bike riding all together. Would sleep at Roland's place.
Yeah.
It was the dopest time in my life. You know what I mean?
Do backflips from the couch.
From the couch. You know what I mean? Like, would want to go sleep over just for that, so we could do backflips from the couch.
Dude, oh man, I'm thinking about all stuff, but yeah.
It was so like so dope, and it helped us release who we were.
Yeah.
We were not imprisoned by what society was perceived, you know, because the group everyone was just like abstract. I don't know what I was, probably the cool guy or whatever you may be, you know. So Roland actually also had a bit of cool in him, actually, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? But it was completely different, you know?
Dude, I remember, like, those years were, dude, like, I always cherish my teenage years, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Too much memory.
It was the best time. And I remember we started getting, like, close to Willie when he beat up Martin. And we're like, yo. Yo, everyone was shocked because Willie was just not that guy. You know what I mean? Willie was always like the friendly guy, speaks to everyone. But with the fight game, it was like, yo, you know, because Martin was like always the bully, you know what I mean? And Willie handled him like quick, easy and quick, you know. And it was like, yo. And then we were like, yeah, Willie's part of our clique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because obviously we don't have enough time. So let's just kind of try to
cool.
To finish it off. Yeah.
Anyway, so what I'll be very honest quickly. What helped grow my alpha male type of thing, that whatever you want to label it, is me recognizing my feminine energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because every male person has a feminine energy and a male energy.
Yeah,
what makes you male is exactly masculine energy. Sorry. And what makes you male is the dominance of the masculine energy.
Yeah.
But do realize that what makes you a man is a woman.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people would say, no, what makes you a man is you taking care of family. And it's like, no, those are human things. Those are the right things to do. You know, we need to take care of each other. But if there's no female, how then do you define that as a male? You know what I mean? You just be a human, you know? So he needs an opposite. You know, it's almost like saying it's nighttime. How can you tell it's nighttime? Because you know it was daytime. You define it from its opposite, you know. So when I started understanding this, and also understanding my mom and sister as women, I started appreciating women a lot more, as because they defined who I am. You know, I got to understand that I'm actually defined as a man by my opposite, you know. And what makes me the opposite, you know? What are the characteristics that define me from my opposite? You know what I mean? And therefore I started also doing a lot of research, you know, and also understanding that the feminine energy and the masculine energy is present because we both, and you see it in the in your physical biology, you know. You have the estrogen as a man, you have estrogen, and you have testosterone, you know what I mean? But your one that's more dominant is the male hormone, you know what I mean? So I took advantage of studying my feminine energy, you know, and because of that, it made me understand women better, you know, and they gravitated towards me because I understood them because do realize that a lot of men that beat up women is because the woman reflects something that he's not okay with. He hasn't accepted. He's fighting himself. The woman is just a punching bag. The woman is just reflecting something that he's fighting within. You know what I mean? So he hasn't accepted his feminine energy.
So like the woman is like like collateral damage, basically, almost.
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? So he has issues. He's fighting. He doesn't want to accept, or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So so it helped me perceive. It helped me increase my, funny enough, my intuition, because women have better intuition. So I realized that accepting my feminine energy, I started having better intuition, because a woman can tell when a guy is busy behind her back, and that's intuition. They really great at that. You know what I mean? And that's why they're also the greatest player. They're greater than the guys. So if you want to be a great player, accept your feminine energy and study it, because that's how you be good at it, you know. Which I'm not saying you should be, you know. I'm also,
I hear you. No, I feel you.
You know what I mean? And far and beyond that, I started having so much love for women, the species of women themselves, you know. And I started going, like, I have like a group of friends where I started going against the whole thing of them posting naked pictures of women. And because something in me just didn't agree with it anymore, because it felt like, how do we then look at women just as tools like that to entertain ourselves, just seeing them as sexual objects and detaching who they are, you know what I mean? Even if that woman posted, exactly, even if they posted those naked, but it has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? You shouldn't put a stamp on it, you know what I mean? Because for me, it was like when they posted maybe a nice fine booty or whatever, you know, and I was thinking, yo, what if this person is posting someone's sister in the group and he doesn't know, you know, or someone's mother, you know? And I'm like, you niggas have daughters. Like, this makes no sense. You know what I mean? And I started becoming very real in terms of how I wanted to protect the feminine energy. Bear in mind, I have a lot of women in my life right now that really look up to me in terms of I'm mentoring them, you know, and I'm mentoring them because they feel an overwhelming invitation in my spirit, where they start telling me like about like deep stuff,
Deep stuff, yeah.
and
So they
sometimes
feel
like,
safe with you. They feel safe in your confidence, in your, in just
exactly,
in opening
and
up to you in that way. Yeah.
exactly, and knowing myself, you know what I mean, and also sexual energy. I understand. Funny enough, I learned how easy it is to please a woman through the observation of lesbians.
Mm.
You know, funny enough, because I was always a curious person.
Mm-hmm.
You even obviously at some point asked me to write a book on how
I
to
remember.
sexually please a woman.
I did tell you, right? I did tell you, dude.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking on that thing, man. You need to write a book, bro. Right.
About, yeah, you know what I mean.
No, but besides that, maybe,
So
but just maybe like all those underlying things. I mean, hey, it's rough. Like, hey.
yeah, you know what I mean. And obviously, I gave you, like, I used to tell you some
Oh yeah.
tips, as I was learning. It's for me, because like, it's like actually pleasing a woman is not the most difficult thing. It's just because we rely on penises and stuff like that, where you need to literally warm her up. You actually need to get her there at that spot before you even start engaging with her
Yeah.
through penetration.
That's
And
like
I learned that from,
that's like the last part of it.
yeah,
That's like a
exactly.
small bit of
That's
it.
the exactly. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
men think that's what it is. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, it's not what it is.
Oh,
And I learned that from just observing.
yeah.
I was just curious that why would other women want other women, or gravitate to them sexually like that? What is it about them that they do that us male people don't do?
We don't do.
And then I started asking questions. You know what I mean? And through asking questions, I realized there's a fleet of women that haven't even experienced an orgasm.
Yeah.
Like a fleet. And I'll even be honest, some of the women that I've been with will tell me like, yo, dude, I've actually never. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, yeah, like, know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
It would humble me, humble me
Yeah.
in a sense of like,
Really?
like,
Yeah, like really?
yeah, it would,
Like,
it
that's
would.
cool.
Like
Yeah.
before it was an ego thing, but when I grew up, it
Yeah.
it's like, why,
Yeah.
Before it would boost your ego, like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm the nigga, and
Dude,
I'm like, no.
I think somehow in the future we might have to have just a conversation fair on this, you know.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, because
But
there's a lot to it. Because like I've also seen just the type of stuff that you've been telling me about. Like oh, it's crazy, man.
yeah.
There's so much to this thing.
So to round it off for
Yeah.
me is to define yourself as an alpha male is how you treat the feminine energy, because that is your yang. If you're yin, that's your yang.
Yeah.
So she raises your alpha alpha masculine energy. She's the one that can actually define it.
And also for me, just to add to what you're saying, for me, I've always believed, women have always been our emotional mirror, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think like they've always been like the way they're so good at picking up energy. Firstly, in terms of, like a woman can tell when you're upset, or she can tell when something's wrong, something's off.
Intuition.
You know what I'm saying? So I've always believed like they've always been our emotional mirror in terms of being able to help us as men be more be more in touch with our emotional side. Realizing our emotional side is actually, if you think about it, we're driven a lot by emotions.
Yeah, we are.
In terms of like like majority of the things that we do it because of how we feel about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we take that for granted, because like we take it for granted thinking it's an intellectual thing, that you do it because you're telling yourself to do it. You don't realize how you do it because after doing it, there's a certain feeling that comes with it. So like that's the feeling you're actually chasing. It just so happens that for you to get that feeling, you need to go through this intellectual process or physical process, so that when you get to that feeling, then like, yo, this is what I was actually wanted. It just so happens for me
For
to
sure,
feel comfortable in this situation. I just have to go through this, and then you be like, and then people obviously as men, because we're so intellectual or logical, so to speak, we end up thinking like that's the most important thing about it.
Yeah,
We
for
think of
sure,
like
for
actually
sure.
that is what makes me a man because I'm able to do this. Not realize how to know.
Yeah,
It's actually that end result that you're looking after, that you're going after. And
yeah.
but yeah, man. Anyway, listen. One last question before I let you go, or before we wrap it up, and maybe you
Cool,
can just answer it
cool.
as short or as straightforward as you can. Is what do you know now that you could teach your younger self?
What do I know now? Uh, th- the perception of time does not exist, right?
Okay.
So whatever, when you have the opportunity, you know, to be yourself, right? Discover as much as you can while you're still young. Don't like do the worst things, the biggest mistake. Just discover everything. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I realized that there's certain things that I could have done when I was younger, but I was too concerned on how is someone looking at me or perceiving me, and stuff like that, you know. And I feel like I've missed those building blocks that could have assisted me in things that are challenging me in my life right now. You know what I mean? So I feel like when you're young, have a don't care type of attitude. I wish I had a more of a, yes, I did, but a lot more don't care attitude, and understand that everything that you're doing is actually your schooling. You know what I mean? Like I wish the schooling system taught us how to actually use life as part of a schooling system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that it would help us engage better in environments when we outside of school.
Outside of school, yeah.
How we did exactly. You know
Like
what I mean? So I wish
it's almost like if there was a personal development class, it
you
would
know
have
what I
been played
mean.
in schools.
You know, and there's just to cut this quickly. There's a friend of mine. His name is Lachi. He was a Afrikaner guy. He learned. He has one of the biggest construction companies in South Africa. You know, it was so shocking to me that he didn't go to school. Right? He actually became a construction genius, being involved in construction work. So he was using practical work to school himself, you know, and engaging. It's almost like his real life experiences were actually the actual school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was earning money while he was in school, understanding interacting with businessmen, you know, making mistakes. You know what I mean? So it's almost like he was getting paid to be in school. Type of thing, you know. So imagine if that was our high school experience. We engage in working, that whatever that you wanted to be in, your parents paid you to be a music producer, for example, and they literally instead of paying for school fees, they paid you to go experience. And experience in terms of making beats, engaging with different artists, you know, exactly, you know, understanding the language, using that money as your schooling experience to then you get to a point where you actually become a master at it, because nothing beats experiencing it live, boy. Like I find some of the things from the schooling system so unnecessary. It does nothing for us. And funny enough, I learned that from Gary V. Gary V. Yo, you guys need to check out. He's the one.
He's the one.
He's the one.
I was saying like a thing. So before I cut you off, is that like the movie that, like, as you're talking, like, you know, like the perfect movie that kind of exhibits what you're talking about was the movie called Slumdog Millionaire. I don't know if you right?
Hey, that's a brilliant movie.
It was
That's
crazy,
a brilliant
right?
movie.
Wow.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. Like,
exactly that,
I wish our schooling system was that. Like, for me, my child the school fees are high.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that to go experience what he wants to be. If he wants to be a doctor, I'm going to pay doctors to let him in and teach him everything, the real things.
Yeah.
You know, not all these other extra things and no.
All right,
you
my
know
boy.
what I mean?
Nah, I feel you, my man.
Yeah. But
listen,
anyway,
man. Yeah, man.
Thank you, boy.
It's been an awesome run. I appreciate you giving me your time, bro. And yeah, anybody who's watching this, guys, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And hopefully you took something from it. And yeah, man, take notes, and we'll catch up on the next episode. Thanks, brother.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I love you so much, man. Thank you for the talk. And yeah, let's actually plan for that sexual education thing. You know what I mean?
I think we'll do. Hopefully, if we can, maybe just kind of get also other panels, other people can give us their own views, you know, which we'll do.
Definitely.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
All right, cool boy.
All right.
Cheers. Bye.
Sharp.